1 minute. Hello, folks. How is it going? Jay, big up. Good night. Mr. Makuk, what's going on, sir? Howard, how is life? How is everybody doing? Hope all is well with you, folks. As usual, remember to share the link so we can get more people on. And hope Mario, what's going on? Bless up, respect. Marvin, big up. Who else is here? If you're here, you know, let's do the roll call so we can say hi to everyone. Clevan, respect. Lushane, big up. I know we've been missing for a couple weeks, so you know, seems like what you call it, COVID is not such of importance anymore. So everything is opening up, and you know, it's starting to get real busy with our other ventures. So a lot of Saturdays I'm tied up. For the people who know the other side of what we do, you know that my other business is, you know, takes a lot of time on the weekend. So you guys just gotta bear with us, and when when we're available, it will happen. Um, if duty calls for the other stuff, then I have to do that. Anybody else is here that hasn't said hi? Haven't said hi, then please do. You know, this is for the newcomers. This is I Go Chat. We talk about everything and anything to do with small ruminants, mostly goats, because most of us are goat farmers, and we also discuss anything to do with small farm situation, small farm operation. As a group, we discuss and advise each other on best practices, and let Sarge run the program. Oh yeah, I wish Sarge could run the program. To be honest, then we would definitely not miss a weekend because Sarge is always on it. If Sarge was capable of running the program, we'd be in good shape. Um, okay, so let's see. Couple of things. One thing I want to talk about. I got word that the imported animals are out of quarantine and they've moved to their respective homes. I don't know where that is outside of case, so we gotta give thanks for that. They're out safe. There apparently wasn't any illness or anything to keep them there, so the owners are should be pretty happy that the animals are in their possession, and we will move forward. Hopefully, you know, we can see the fruits of these guys' hard work, what went into bringing the animals here, and we already discussed how we see this thing moving forward. We would like to normalize, standardize, and normalize the process so that way more farmers can do it, right? Getting new genetics in Jamaica into Jamaica is paramount for the business, the different farmers' objectives, whether it's meat, milk, or breeding stock. It's very important that we get quality new stock genetics into Jamaica. So the process of doing that, I would love to see it standardized and normalized. Tonight, really, what I want to talk about is the pricing of animals in Jamaica, specifically in Jamaica. Our international viewers, I don't know how this relate to um, your territory, but in Jamaica, there is no real standard of how people sell animals. Miss Natty from Chelsea Best Farm, respect. And I've been observing for a while when people put their animals up for sale, the wide gap in what I call the understanding of the value of an animal, right? What are you selling and how you value what you're selling. And most of the people here who are in these Facebook groups, these different Facebook groups, they know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, Natty from Chelsea Best Farm, Peter, Mario, whoever else is here that are in these groups, they know exactly what I'm talking about. There will be a big discrepancy between two animals when it comes to pricing. The they look the look of the animals. You could put two animals together that conformation, quality, the condition of the animal, genetics or whatever. You can put both animals together, and if they look look similar, they could be a $20,000 gap or $30,000 gap in the pricing. Randy, big up. And my question, well, I asked myself this question, is what would be the reason for that wide gap? What would cause one farmer to say his animal's worth 80,000 and the other guy would say 50 or 60, and the both animals look very similar? What causes that? What are they seeing in the $80,000 goat? What do they know about that goat that we don't? So my question is, how do we move forward? How do we create a system where the animals can be appraised with standards, or even not even standards, but just the points? What are the points that you're looking at to price the animal? See, Darren is saying free market economy, price determined by demand. I don't know if that's true. You know, I understand that there's not enough supply for the demand at this point. However, if you intend to grow a sector, then you're going to want as many people participating in it. If you're, let's put it this way, if you're selling meat, do you want to be able to sell a lot of meat at a reasonable price, or you'd rather sell to a selective few that can afford high price? You know what I mean? Is goat meat becoming premium merchandise? Is it becoming like, you know, a rare fish or something, or like, anything that you can hardly find, so you have to pay big money for it? Is that what goat meat is becoming? I'm not asking for the price to be, standardized, or for the government or anybody to say, oh, it's $1,000 a pound for goat meat or whatever. I'm asking for an understanding of us as a goat farmers. What are we selling? How are we selling it? And why we're selling it like that? Because keep in mind, if the goat meat keep going up, keep getting expensive, the market is going to shrink. There's going to be less and less people that can afford it. Once upon a time, curry goat and white rice was a staple in a dance. Staple. Manish water, curry goat and white rice, because it was affordable meat. How much time you guys go dance right now? Any little dance pan in the area and see good curry goat, not the watered down thing. Good curry goat and white rice. It's getting ridiculous. So let's start with the live animals, right? Live animals. This is where the major discrepancy is for me. Not so much on the meat side, because the meat is like really demand and supply, as Darren says. But the live animal, how do we determine what a live animal is worth? What is the animal for, and how do we appraise the value of that animal? Is the animal for breeding, or is the animal for meat? Breeding mean genetics or milk producing. How do we determine the what the animal brings to the table? That's the question I have. That's the real question, because everybody in this group, for the most part, everybody that's here definitely knows that you look at Facebook and you see it. You see a goat sell a little buck selling for 50, $60,000. If I'm starting a goat farm or looking for new genetics into my farm, some of these bucks ain't gonna add any value. They're not gonna improve on my herd. So definitely I'm looking at it as curry meat. Now, at that price point, what is the meat gonna cost? You're gonna get 45% of real meat from the weight. If the goats weigh 50 pounds, you're gonna get 20 something, like 20 pounds or 22 pounds of real meat, because the meat to bone ratio is not there. So you gonna how you gonna make your money back? Much more make a profit. A lot of these bucks that you see posted, they don't have the meat to bone ratio to give you a return on real meat. They're all belly. You understand what I'm saying? So are we gonna have a real conversation about it, or as Darren says, it's a free market, people do what they want to do. I strongly believe that knowledge is power. And if we have conversations about it and let people know that, look, this doesn't make financial sense, the numbers don't add up. And on the other side, if a guy posts a goat that's selling for $65,000 and you're like, okay, what's you think that goat's gonna add something to somebody's farm, when you know the consensus is that animal's not worth using as a stud. As a group, are we guys gonna tell that person that, look, man, no, can't do that? Or it's every man for themselves? Is that the deal? Every man's for himself is like, turn a blind eye. Whoever buys it, sucker. Or as a collective, we're gonna start setting a standard and let people know, educate people. Why are you selling it? Are you selling it for meat, or are you selling it thinking another farmer can use that animal as a stud? Because us as a goat farmers, especially in Jamaica, we pride ourselves on talking about this quality animals, machine that, look at that, yeah, whatever. But nobody, I usually say nobody, very few people are willing to speak up and say, you know what? Nah, dude, like Buck is definitely not a stud. You can't be selling people that go for a stud. I feel strongly that we as a collective, we have to have standards. We have to be able to say, yo, not in my sector. I can't let that work. Can't let that go. Because it reflects on all of us. You think a man, when people, you see these young guys coming in, and I'm sure a lot of us seen these comments. Yo, goat, the man them established goat man them a thief. Yo, nobody is helping the young youth. Nobody is willing to be fair. Nobody is helping nobody. Like the conversation over and over. You know, they're not calling names. They just say goat farmers. They're not calling out no specific name. They're not saying Cabra Ranch. They're not saying Ray from Cabra Ranch. They're not saying, Maki. They're not saying Oral. They're not saying Oral Robinson. They're not saying Sherwin White. They're not saying Dr. Graham. They're not calling names. They're just say good farmers. So what that means? That means all of us. All of us are shady. All of us are thieves. All of us are selfish. All of us are. So do you want that title? No, I don't want that title. Hence I do what I do. Help people as much as I can and speak about these issues as much as I can. The question is, how do we price live goats? Forget the you can't forget it, but the the full blood and purebreds. I assume that the appraisal and registry and all that stuff will take care of what's what eventually. But let's talk about these hybrids, these graded animals. Look ourselves in the mirror and say, okay, are we gonna turn a blind eye when these animals are posted? I'm not talking about be rude to people and laugh at people and say, yo, can't believe y'all post that. You're idiot, you're a madman. You must have, the comments I see, it's not helpful either. Like you can't laugh at a man. Like a man up in the country and don't know, and somebody tell him, yo, you can get 50, 60,000 for that goat. And he posted. But first of all, the groups, if you're admin for a group, that means you must know a little bit about goat. So then somebody should jump in and say, yo, private message or something and say, yo, you sure you want to post a go for that price? You understand what you're doing? Like, what is the purpose? What is, like, if you're really gonna help, if you're gonna start a group, this group should be helping people. It should be bringing value to people. So if you're admin for a group and a man posts a goat in there saying 60,000, 70,000, and you feel honestly that, yo, I don't know, man, can't even get 40 pound of meat out of that goat, then privately tell them, say, yo, I think you should reconsider, and these are the reasons I think you should reconsider. Because knowledge is power. If then he says, no, I don't care, I'll get it, then you got to make yourself known that, look, I try to educate people and try to help so people understand. Then it's on the person who purchase it. I don't think we should turn a blind eye. But what is Darren is like a nice graded buck. A nice graded buck is an upgrade for a man with locals. What is a nice graded buck? Who determines it? The owner or as a collective in his group? Who determines it's a great nice graded buck? Are you gonna have a discussion when it's posted without getting the backlash of you're a hater, you fight against a man, you're this and that? How you determine? Like, honestly speaking, man, like, people got to be honest. Some of these goats posted, I've seen one this past week, $65,000. I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about here. I'm not knocking the guy who posted. I'm saying, did somebody reach out and say, yo, seriously, that goat does not, it's not worth 65,000? Are we just gonna be accepting in this culture that, yo, this is how it goes? Old cars in Jamaica gain value. Is that what we're doing? Darren is insisting the buyer determines. So is that acceptable? Is that acceptable for the sector to move forward? That the buyer can say, yo, this is the value of my goat. Of course, he can say it's the value of his goat, but as a collective, are we gonna let somebody that's coming in buy that goat knowing that the goat ain't worth anything? Are we gonna be each other's protector and protect the integrity of our sector? So if somebody's coming in, they can feel like, yo, somebody's gonna guide me in the right direction. Somebody's gonna stand up for me if somebody's trying to take advantage of me. I can tell you right now, I don't stop anybody from posting stuff in iGo chat. But whatever you post better bring value to people. Straight up, bring value to people. Don't just come and show off and show a goat and don't put any context to anything. I will warn you and I will delete it because I don't want the page. I don't care if I don't have the numbers of the groups, like whatever, but value and protect each other is what I'm about. So you should be able to tell somebody if he wants to be upset. I'm not saying in public and embarrass him, but message him privately, and depends on his demeanor. He may tell you where to go until you leave him thing alone and whatever. And you're like, okay, cool. But if you're the admin for the group, then you can go on the group and say, yo, honestly, I've spoken to this man privately, but I'm telling you, this goat's not worth 65,000 based on what he wants, based on the look of the goat, and or just do a general post, say, yo, if you're gonna buy animals, here are the criteria. Here are what you should look for. You gotta protect the sector. You know, yeah, there Dr. Young said, right, we gotta be our brother's keeper. Value integrity is important. You know what I mean? Like if you're running a group and you see an animal's posted in the group and you know within your heart that it's not worth it, do something about it. Do something about it. You're not stopping the guy from posting it. You're not stopping anybody from purchasing. But on your page, in your on your platform, you should be able to say, look, this is the way you go about it. If you're buying animals, if you're fresh and you're coming in and buying animals, here are some of the things you should look for. If you want it for meat, if the animal weighs 80 pounds, you're getting 40 pounds of meat. Let people know. Be transparent. Let people know this is what they're dealing with. If you're buying an animal for a graded animal for servicing on your farm, these are the things you should look for. These are the things you should take into consideration. What does the offsprings look like? What does the dad look like? What does the mother look like? Then you know what the potential of that animal is. Preach it over and over. Protect each other. You know, I'm not saying, see, that's what I was saying earlier, Dr. Young. Yeah, like you say something and people say you're a hater, you fight against a man. That's why I said don't say it to the person publicly. Message the person privately and say, hey, what is your objective here? You know, are you selling the animal as a stud? Or are you selling it as for meat? If you're selling it for meat, the animal with 80 pounds, you're only getting this much, and based on the price of meat now, nobody's gonna make their money back from that. You know, um, Terrence is saying the buyer should do his or her research and be informed. And if still uncertain, go with your trusted mentor. To be honest, the backlash of commenting negative on someone's animal is just not worth it. I used to do it. Frankly, I do it no more. So here's the thing what I'm saying about this stuff, right? There's gotta be a way to communicate to somebody. I'll tell you my experience when I started. Everybody here should know the amount of research Trudy and I did, right? Like for 2.5, 3 years, we're researching. Then we find people that we see in the space in Jamaica and the sector in Jamaica that we think are authority in their area. Dr. Young, Khalil, Khalil Brown as a nutritionist, um, Mr. McKee, Dr. Young associate that we met early. Um, so we spoke to these people. We get information, how we go about it, what we're doing, what we should look for. And we still got some information that, you know, now that I know better, I should have, you know, made better decisions. But I was still given some information that was really valuable. If you back then, it was only one Facebook group, then another one started that was generally dealing with goats. And I remember watching discussions in there in the first one. And I'm jumping in, asking questions and whatever. And it was brutal. I'm not gonna lie. The passion for goats are there, but oh my god, people were rude. People were disgustingly rude. Like it was embarrassing. I remember the day I stopped commenting and posting in that group. I was doing some research, talking to some people, talked to Lynn Tate, talked to some people here in the US, in Canada. And one person, I think I had the gentleman on the show a couple months ago from Vanguard, and had a long discussion with him. And he said one thing to me. He said, "Are you sure that Boer goats is the right fit for meat production in Jamaica?" And I'm like, "Why?" Is that because Boer goat is not as hardy And if you're doing meat, you're gonna need a lot of goats. You need goats that are hardy and can survive out there and can, just deal with the heat, deal with the worm loads and all that stuff. He's like, Boer goats were supposed to be like that, but once they came to North America because it's so expensive to get them here, they got babied, and that trade kind of gets weakened. So then I went in the group and I asked the same question he asked me. It was not pretty. It was not pretty. The attack that I got, and then somebody said, "Do you own a goat?" We didn't own one goat. And I was like, "No, not yet. I'm looking into it." And so I asked a question. The man said, "Until you own a goat, shut up. Don't say a word." That was the last time I posted in that group or asked a question in that group, because I realized at that moment that the majority of the people in that group weren't there to help each other. They weren't there to help each other. They were there for showing animals and talking about fat animals and this and that. They were not there to help each other, to educate each other. That was the moment I stopped. Now, moving forward, 4 years later, I don't want the same for people who are coming in, because I have a full understanding that without a large number of participants in the sector is just going to stay a sector. It won't become an industry. So the people that are coming in, I will share as much information as I can with them. I've had people come and tour the farm. I've sit and talk to people. I've talked to people on the phone. We're doing I Go Chat as much as we can, sharing information. But I feel strongly that this good pricing thing and informing people about what they should look for in purchasing animals, what the value of the animal really is important for us to move forward. No joke, it's seriously important. We can't be selfish. It can't be just about, you know, how good the goats look, how do you fatten the goat, all that stuff. There's a bigger picture. It's a much bigger picture to this. How do we grow the sector? How do we welcome new people? How are we going to protect the integrity of the sector we're in? Starting with telling people the truth. Even sometimes people post these goals, they have no idea what they're doing. They have no understanding of how you really price an animal. I can tell you how we do it at Carber Ranch. Everything is based on production cost and how the animals perform from birth to weaning. In our system, you can't use those index on your farm because the operation is different. But on our farm, that group of kids, if we have a group of kids that like the group that's born late November, December into January, they got a group number, and when they're weaned, we compare them against each other. So we know who's the high performers, who the low performer is. And the high performance goat will definitely, based on how he looks and everything, that the price point of that animal is going to be higher than the one below, than the index. You know what I mean? Because it's obvious that goat performs better if the animal is for farmers to use as a stud or a breeding female. If we can tell right away below certain index, curry, curry. or in our case, it could be burgers. But really and truly, I don't feel within my heart that I can sell people an animal, especially a buckling that I know is not going to bring any value to them. It's not going to add anything to their operation. I don't feel good in myself to sell a man a little buckling that I know is not going to do anything based on the performance of that buckling through birth to weaning. And that's what I'm asking. Terrence just said, let's be honest, it's not about pricing grading animals, it's about pricing purebred full blood as well. Some purebred, well, some full blood or purebred needs to go to the curry pot, according to Terrence. Well, Terrence, I'm leaving that to, as I said earlier, I'm not touching the full blood and purebred thing because we're gonna push for the registry and the appraisal system to come into play. We already know things are out of whack, but I can speak strongly on graded hybrid animals because that's what we produce. That's what most farmers produce, right? So I can speak on that. That's a start. I understand inputs are going up, Darren. I know inputs are going up, so the price will reflect that. But seriously, there's no justification for somebody to sell an animal that's not going to bring value. If it's a quality buckling, graded buckling, then you can confidently tell the person, say, yes, this is going to be an improvement. Growth rate. The father, look at the sire, see what the sire looks like, see what the mother looks like. Then you can tell somebody, like, yes, this is an upgrade for what you got. What you already have, this would be an upgrade for it. But you can't sell a man a little. No, it's not fair. You know, see, Dr. Young said, I think that the market is settling, plateauing already, as I see animals posted that taking very long to move or not moving at all. Well, I would love that's definitely a positive sign, and it's maybe a result of, as a collective, having conversations like this, putting information out there on a regular so newcomers know what to look for. Newcomers know, oh, this is what I need to look at. This is the criteria for my farm. This is what I look for in a buck. This is what I look for in a female. These are the questions I should ask. Maybe it is a result of us being open as a group and talking to people, sharing information. See, Darren is saying almost all animals are overpriced, honestly. But some of us are on waiting lists with 250K in mind. I don't know, man. I don't. I'm not a part of that market. I'm not a part of that purebred full blood market waiting on an animal, somebody to sell me an animal. I have my relationships and I stick with them and work from there. The breeders that I work with, really and truly, they know my projections. I could tell Mackie, as some people may see, that Mackie have a nice buck and they say I want it. It's a relationship I've built over the years with them. I could tell him, yo, next year I'm gonna need two females. This relationship we have. I'm not in the open market for these, so I really can't speak on them. Um, Carlton is saying, so what's your thoughts on the prices of those which is the real scarcity? Well, my opinion, my humble opinion on females. The scarcity of females is a result of the demand in the goat business. A lot of newcomers are coming, and there is a strong narrative over the last couple of years about numbers, growth, numbers. So a lot of farmers are keeping back their females, keeping back a lot of their females. I know based on our projections, we keep 15 to 20% of our females back, um, for replacements or just adding to the herd because of what the numbers we want to get to. And we have to keep in mind that when we bought that large stock, a lot of them are old. We don't really know their age. We just know a lot of them are over 4 or 5 years. And at any minute, they could go, based on their age, or they could have complications or issues. And honestly, we're seeing it now. This year, we're seeing more and more of those original females from that large group we bought. We're seeing the age on them now. We're seeing the results of their age. So keeping back good females in our from our breeding is important for replacements. Darren, you're something else. Not all of us are that connected. We have to wait and we have to pay. I didn't say I get it for free. I have to pay. However, the relationship I've built gives me the luxury of calling and saying, Maki, this is what I would like to do. Your next breeding group, can I have a buck? Can I have a female? It's a relationship that I have with them. It's not for free, you know? Premium. So from Charlton's asking from your explanation, a premium will always be paid no matter the quality. No, I don't believe that. Well, in today's environment, that's the way it seems. But what I'm saying is, if we share information and educate the people around us, then you will be paying premium for quality, not regardless of the quality. And if you're starting a goat farm, you should only buy quality. That's what I am saying. If you're starting, you should only buy quality. Be patient and buy quality. And you may pay premium for the quality, or you can, you know, come up with an agreement, an arrangement, and to approach it from that angle. But you should only buy quality when you're starting. That's my advice. Dr. Young said even with heavy grain on animals fed 2 pounds per day for 8 months, 240 days on feed for 6 months, 180 days. 180 times 2, 360 pounds. 360 pounds at 55 pounds per bag equals 7 bags. 7 bags at 2,200 per bag, 15,400 plus forage cost, which is less than half of that cost. So, yeah, I know that when you run the numbers and these people are selling some animals, then people are saying, oh, they're overselling. But what is the appropriate profit margin? What is the appropriate profit margin? That is a different story because consumer products, which really you're selling goats, it's a consumer product. Um, you want to maximize your profit margin if the market can bear it, but you also have to think about where you want to go as a business, and if you're in a sector that you want to grow, you have to be mindful of that. You know what I mean? You don't see Apple or whoever come up with a product and sell it for $3,000 when the market is at 800 or $700. Don't. You know what I mean? And iPhone is a premium product. So they can be at the top of the scale, but you know you're getting quality. So that's a full blood or purebred, right? But if you're selling generic or graded or whatever animals, then you gotta stay within that medium. You can't sell a little low level Samsung phone for the price of an iPhone. Can't work. Charlton, you're not alone, bro. It's a recurring theme. It's a recurring theme that you can't get animals and farmers don't call you back. I don't know what the answer is to that. As I said, our approach when we started was on the technical side. We try to develop relationships with technical people. Dr. Young, Khalil Brown, Tamaki, these people we established relationship with, and then they advised us on who we should go to. Because I was doing it the other way around. I was trying to find out what do I need to have, how do I need to approach this to get success. I wasn't buying animals and then figure it out. I was trying to get as much information, arm myself with as much information before we bought one animal. So then Dr. Young helped me find some animals. Khalil helped me find animals. You know what I mean? I reached out to TJ, bought the first 7 goats from TJ. And that is from having conversations with people, having a conversation, one on one conversation with King Curry, because he was a loudmouth in the space. No disrespect, but you know how Casey was. So then I said, yo, you seem to know a lot of people. I'm gonna start this thing. Who can I reach out to? Because he was lashing out just like this, saying, yo, I try to start people not returning my call. Nobody want to sell me goats. So then I reached out to him like, what's your experience and who you think will help? And he said, call TJ. Call TJ, buy a few animals. And from the other relationship that we built, we went from there. So it's a recurring theme of not being able to get return calls or people not taking you serious. We try to help as many people as we can. Animals are up for sale, animals come in ready to go. We try to help people. You know, our list is long too. I think we just stopped making the list because it's just too much. Um, TJ is saying some graded should fetch a higher price than purebred. There's nothing that precludes a graded from pricing above a purebred. Well, that's one thing I agree with, because when I look at um, our milking program, and if I'm buying a goat for milk, and there's two animals there, one is a purebred Nubian and one is a graded Nubian, and you can clearly see that the graded Nubian's udder is bigger, produces more milk. That animal should be worth more than that purebred. That doesn't have as much milk. So I agree with that. Yeah, Joe, you know, there's beautiful Trudy saying, Joe, I think is worth more than a lot of full blood animals I see. Joe is a super hybrid animal. And anybody who here who doesn't know, haven't seen Joe, he's something. I really wish I didn't sell that goat, but we didn't sell that goat. But sometimes that's how it go. Um, but yeah, let's really, as a collective, if we're serious about this, help each other, help each other out. Do not be scared to reach out to a man you see post a goat that you know it's not working. It's not gonna work out for whoever purchased it based on what he's selling it for. And if he's receptive, then it's a plus. But if he's not, and it's your platform, put it out there. Put your criteria thing out there and say, yo, for the people who are in my group, I'm gonna my advice to you is you're buying the animal for meat. Here's the things you should look for. If you're buying it for as a stud for your farm, your upcoming farmer, these are the things you should look for. Then if somebody go and buy that animal, then it's on them. But on your platform, in your space, or amongst your group, you should have the ability, should be empowered to do that. You know what I mean? You should empower people. I'm empowering everybody in I go chat. You see something that's not right, reach out. I'm not saying embarrass anybody publicly, but reach out, man. Reach out privately and say, yo, bro, like, or ma'am, I don't think that animal is worth $65,000, $70,000. The biggest thing I get Carber Ranch, and Trudy can second it, is that a lot of my friends that I value their opinion tell us all the time that we sell our goats below market value. We could get more for them. But morally, I can't, because the question I keep asking, would if I was in that person position, will I pay that for the goat? If I was in his or her position looking to start and looking for a nice female, am I gonna pay that for that goat? No. Goats that I sell for top dollars, bucklings or dolings, yeah, I'm confident about that. I can show them the numbers, why I think that goes value, what is value, what I'm selling them for. I can I break out the numbers and show people how I rate these goats, how we price these goats. The index show that buck over there is a top performing buck. That buck is worth. I'm not selling you the buck based on his size. I'm selling you the potential of what that buck can do. Based on who the father is, based on who the mother is, and based on how he performed, his growth rate between birth and weaning, and based on his conformation and how he looks, that goat is a quality hybrid goat. And that's why that goat's worth north of $50,000. Yeah. Because with all indication from birth, you can tell that goat's gonna be special. Here's him, Peter. Peter is confirming. I'm telling you what I'm saying. Peter tells me that all the time. All the time, Peter tells me that yo, you can get more for that goat. But if I sell the goat for a couple thousand less or whatever, we're really not losing, you know. But I would really like to know that people feel like they get value for what they buy, like they get something out of it. And our job is to be fair to people. Be fair to people. Let people know what they're getting. I'll give you a little joke. We had last year or the year before, we had a group of wieners, and there was this little runted buck that was just in the group. And a guy from Portland came to buy some goat, and he had a friend with him. And the friend saw this little runted buck, and he's like, "Sell me the buck." And I'm like, "No, bro, can't do that." I'm like, he's like, "No, man, just sell me the buck." I'm like, "Nah, dude, that buck is gonna stay here and it's gonna go in the curry pot. I will not sell that buck to anybody." I'm like, he's like, "No, man, I'm not gonna breed. I just wanted the buck. I like the look of buck. Trust me, the buck is runted, look like whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Since you're pressuring me, $5,000 on ticket." He said, "Okay, cool. Take the buck." A few months later, I reach out to him. I'm like, "Yo, send me pictures of the buck." When he sent a picture of the buck, I could not believe it's the same buck. Trudy is on here, can tell you guys. We were shocked. The buck turned out to be a decent little graded buck. I still don't think I would use him as a stud, but if you're saving him for Christmas, oh my God, he want that guy. That guy hit the jackpot with that little buck. The buck took a little while to gain his traction or whatever, but the buck turned out to be a nice little curry buck, put on weight and everything. You could easily get a decent amount of meat from that buck. But the moral is, I would not sell him the buck. I didn't want to sell him the buck. So I figured, okay, you give me 5,000 for the buck, you can go and tell anybody you see with that buck, you can tell them you pay 5,000 feet, nobody now gonna say. You get robbed, nobody now gonna say nothing. Because what is $5,000? But for him, I think it was a great investment because he took care of the buck. He treated the buck like a pet, and the buck thrived. Like the buck just turned around and look amazing. We were shocked. As Judy said, we when he sent the pictures, I'm like, "Dude, this is not the buck." He's like, "I swear this is the buck. This is the little buck I bought from you." And he wouldn't stop thanking us for actually doing it because he had to pressure me to do it. But he got a nice little buck. But I was straight up honest with him. Straight up honest, say, "Yo, I can't sell you this buck. It's not worth anything more than the curry pot." And I don't trust people to take animals and leave and say, "Oh no, I'm use it for curry or whatever." And no. But we have to look out for each other. That's what I'm trying to say here. Darren said the guy unlocked the genetics. Well, yeah, well, you know what I mean? The dad of the buck was the sire for that buckling. I think it was one of Joe's last set. Yeah. So he may took a while for him to, start showing what his dad gave him. But he started filling out, and for me, I wouldn't use him as a stud, but for the pot, that guy got a good return on him. Good return. So yeah, we got to look out for each other. We have to be brave enough and just tell people straight, say, "Look, no, man, this is our sector. This is our livelihood. If we don't protect it, who's going to protect it? Who's going to protect it? We got to be able to welcome newcomers and give them solid advice. Their success is our success. Look at it that way. Their success is our success. If I'm able to sell someone like three, four females and he can hit me back in a year or two, like Anthony does all the time, showing the offsprings from Joe and showing that, yo, he got solid females from us. I don't even know how Anthony got six or whatever females from us so early in our operation. I think maybe that's when we had that massive amount of females and we think we could put some money back in the kit by selling so, some of them. Because at that point, I had strict orders from Trudy not to sell any females because we were trying to build the numbers. So I remember how Anthony got six females. Darren, you got jokes. You should get your own show. I don't know when I'll have anytime. Next time I have a $5,000 book, it belongs to um what do you call it? The Cabo Ranch meal experiment, the kitchen where Trudy tries out her different dishes. That's where it belongs. Yes, DJ, $5,000 we sell the guy the goat for. And he was happy. And I feel now seeing the goat, I feel really good. Feel really good that we did it and the goat looked nice. Really nice. And the man feel happy about it. Joshua, big up. Thatchfield Farm. What are you saying, sir? Thanks for your services. Um, okay, Paul Sayers. You just Sabbath over, Paul? You just Sabbath over? What are you doing over here saying stuff, asking questions? And what makes you think it's wrong? What makes you think it's wrong? Cha. What are you saying, my brethren, Paul? Hey, I want to tell something about Paul Sayers. I want to tell you guys, Paul, now everybody should know he's the CEO at JDDB right now. And Paul and his team are doing an amazing job of moving, doing their out, what do you call it, executing their livestock development program with the AI. I've always been impressed with the JDDB staff because we have a good relationship with them through Mr. Parks and now Paul. But I remember the first time asking Mr. Parks, I'm like, yo, how many people you guys got there? Because I always been able to get answers and I always been able to get results. And last year or earlier this year, JDB said they're rolling out their version of the livestock improvement program. And they have their people that they're interested in getting involved. And I must say that it's been going smoothly from what we see because the communications have been upfront. It's been timely. People have done what they said they're gonna do, and I must applaud Paul's leadership. And I want you guys to give the man a round of applause. Although we are in naked all the time, but I definitely want to big him up on this platform for this leadership and the fact that they're doing as they say they want to do. I wish that it's a massive success. Cabo Ranch is a part of it, and we're looking to benefit from it. because our milking program. And trust me, Paul, big respect, boss. You need to come on the show and talk about some other things still. You should come and talk about this actually, because I think it's big. I think you guys are letting the other program look like a joke thing. Maybe you guys should do the whole thing. But I appreciate your effort and the great job you guys been doing, and respect. My hats off to you, boss. And no, it's not rum storm. I don't want you to come tell people, but this is a big people thing, Paul. This is a big people conversation we're having. And if you didn't come here and put in your mouth about man and drink rum, nobody would have said anything. Sure. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand. Um, yes, so I think we should be our brother's keeper, as a smart lady, Dr. Young, just said earlier. You know what I mean? Because it protects our sector, and we want the sector to turn into a real industry. And we don't want people going around saying, "Yo, see Jamaica good farmer, the man them a thief, the man them don't, the man them not honest, Like, trust me, we don't want that. We want people to speak highly of the people they interact with, the people they do business with. We want people to speak highly of them. We want people to feel confident if they're in a group, they feel like, yo, I'm gonna get solid advice. If I ask a stupid question, I don't get a smart remark from somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like, be respectful, be helpful, have some empathy. If you see somebody struggling with an understanding of how it works, or you can tell that they're totally ignorant to how an animal should be priced. I keep saying it. Hit them one on the side, hit them privately, and say, yo, let's work the numbers here. What's your objective? If he's, arrogant about it or whatever, then you let him be. But you make sure you go on the platform and tell people, say, yo, this is what you should look for. Don't let nobody come on here and sell you, some idiot animal for ridiculous price. No, that's not what we're doing over here. So that is my position. You know what I mean? That is how I feel things should go. Honesty, integrity, moral compass, empathy for people. People need people need the support. People need the information. You should, if you're in a platform, if you're in a group, you should feel comfortable going in that group and asking a question. Doesn't matter what it is. And somebody should give you an answer or lead you in the right direction to get the answer. That's what I want. I'm trying to cultivate with our little I Go Chat family is free information. Let the information flow freely with respect and empathy for each other. Educate people on how good things should work based on the current climate. You know what I mean? If you see somebody come on and say, yo, all good meat so high, all good price so high, whatever. If you within yourself feel like it's where it should be, explain to the person what goes into it. Explain to people that, yo, pretty larceny, the security, the cost of grain, yada yada. If that's your position, lay it out. I can tell you for the last 6 months, every time I order feed, the price change. Somebody wanna answer to Joshua in the comments and give him some details on how you can get registered with RADA, please and thank you. It's not difficult, Joshua. It's not difficult. Yeah. The cost of feed, um, every month for the last 6 months or whatever it is, I think the price has gone for the last year or something. Prices have gone up, gone up, gone up. But what are you gonna do? You know, what I mean, we all heard of the bottleneck in shipping and lack of raw material. The war in the Ukraine is gonna cause a big hit because they're a major producer of grains and all that and raw material. So you know, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. However, the whole conversation about how you help yourself with those costs is for another show. You know what I mean? It's a whole discussion on its own. So we have to table that for another time, but we can talk about it as a group in another show. You know what I mean? And thanks to everyone that's helping Joshua figure this out with getting registered with RADA. And I suggest here's what I think about. A lot of people say, "Oh, RADA don't worth nothing or whatever." I personally rather not deal with RADA, but they're there and they're part of the system, and we are registered with them as a business. We are registered with them, so we may not like certain aspects of it. However, it's part of our structure, and I encourage everybody to register with them. The, trust me, I may not like how them operate, or maybe they're lacking resources or lacking whatever, but you guys would not understand. People will not understand the value of that RADA ID until there was those curfew during the pandemic. That RADA ID was like a passport. Seriously. You can imagine if that didn't exist and you have to move from A to B to take care of your farm. Trust me, that RADA ID was valuable, is valuable. So I suggest everybody should get registered. With when during the heat, the height of the pandemic, RADA ID was like you show any checkpoint, anything that RADA ID, and you're moving. Nobody asks you no question, you know. So I suggest people get registered, work with the system. If you have criticism of the system, that's okay. That's how people improve. You know what I mean? I have strong criticism of my RADA office. However, I still support them. I still allow them to, show the farm and talk about the farm and bring people to the farm. But I still have issues with them. But they're part of the system, and I think my criticism of how they operate sometimes should help them grow or help them improve. But I still will never tell people not to register with them. You should register, be a part of the system. So when something goes wrong and whatever assistance you can get, you're in the system. Yeah, I know some RADA offices are way more efficient than some. So, but yeah, everybody should register. Okay, so any other questions for me before I sign off? I think I've ranted enough about this. I feel really strongly about it, and it took me a minute before I decided to address it. But I just want to implore people to be show empathy, be open to speak your mind without insult or or aggressive manner, or you know what I mean. Just show empathy and let people help each other. That's all I'm saying. So if you have any questions for me that I can help you with, pricing will fix itself. I'm not so sure if pricing won't fix itself if we don't have an open discussion, Darren. If we're not willing to talk about these things, it ain't gonna fix itself. I don't know what, nothing in this world fixes itself except for nature. Now, when nature is fixing itself, it just create destruction and rebuild it itself. Yeah, you should get a mentor. Let me go over it. Let me quickly go over what I think new farmers should do when they're coming in. And I'm going to tell you from my perspective, this may not work for everybody, but this was our approach. We did the research. From the research we didn't just research what's going on in foreign. We did an extensive research about what was going on in Jamaica. We found technical people in Jamaica that we felt were speaking confidently with authority on their subject. Reach out to them, develop a relationship with them, got advice from them, and then we start building and start purchasing animals, and we maintain those relationships, maintain them strongly. The reason Dr. Young is on every iGo chat is because regardless of what's going on, Dr. Young has become a very good friend of Cabra Ranch. I support everything Dr. Young does in this space. Khalil Brown the same. You guys remember the maintenance ration? I go full-fledged behind Khalil when he developed the maintenance ration. We helped him. We used our weaning. We had a whole breeding group, kidding group that we used the maintenance ration on and collect the data on it just to see success because it was a more affordable grain. So the relationship, we make it stronger, build on it, put our farm and our resources behind helping people get to where they need to get to if it's moving the needle forward. You know what I mean? We speak confidently and support what we believe in. Dr. Young and her organization Nutrimix roll out AI program. And we brought the company on iGo Chat to talk about it because of our relationship with Dr. Young. And that relationship started from scratch. Dr. Young brought her team to the site where Cabra Ranch is now and gave us our blessing, telling us, yes, this site will work for a goat farm. So you build relationship and you maintain those relationships, and those people will guide you through the ups and downs. That's how we did it. And you don't have to follow it step by step, but there's a strong value in having those relationships and maintaining them and building on them. Terrence is the same thing. TJ, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Not everything I say TJ agree with or people agree with, but what I have to say, my criticism about certain things has nothing to do with the relationship that I have with TJ. I maintain those relationships. So that's how we did it. If a relationship fall apart because of I speak honestly, then that relationship wasn't that valuable in the first place. If I'm wrong about something, I'm man enough to say I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of Cover. But mind you, my opinions, is just one half of Cabo Ranch. Okay? And if I say something that's not kosher, I'll get the wrath of it. I'll hear about it. So I'm very mindful of the things I say on this platform, on this show, because I know that if I'm out of line, I got a whole bunch of people that's gonna say, "Yo, what's up with that?" So, with all due respect, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for showing up. And as I said off the top, things are getting a little busy on our other side of our ventures. So, you know, I Go Chat may not be as consistent as it used to be, but we'll try to keep it up as much as possible. And we appreciate every one of you all for showing up every time we do I Go Chat. And feel free to be a member of I Go Chat Facebook group. And you guys have my word that you can speak up if you see something ain't too right. Okay? And I will try to police things as much as possible. I don't deny people posting, but I do review posts. And I will let you know right off the bat if I think something is wrong with the post or it's not acceptable for a platform. I will message you privately. Or if I need to broadcast a message to everybody, then I'll make a nice comment. Right? So appreciate you all. See you guys. I won't be on next week, but I'll try to get Trudy to do it. Keep your fingers crossed, because she's a very busy woman. But definitely we'll try to get I Go Chat on as much as we can. All right. See you guys next time. Appreciate it. Respect to everybody that showed up, and the ones that are new. Welcome to the family. See you guys soon. All right. Thank you.